Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where we share safe real estate investment tips, talk about property law, and share credible real estate investment opportunities here in Nigeria. Basically, every video on this channel is an asset to real estate investors and property buyers. Finally, on this channel, every subscriber is family, a family of millionaire real estate investors. Welcome.
Today is going to be a super special broadcast because it's the first of its kind. I've never had this kind of broadcast before. Personally, I've never watched this kind of broadcast anywhere before until I met Barrister Raymond. I came across his YouTube channel rather, and that was where I was watching this broadcast for the very first time, this topic for the very first time, and that was why I had to engage him and say, sir, we need you on this episode of Decent Housing Solutions. Come talk about things like this, because I can see 3 persons are here with me. Please let me know if my audio is working so that we don't, start talking and find out that the audio is not working. Please let me know where you're watching us from. I see 6 persons. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here. And then let me know where you're watching from. Please drop a comment in the comment section. I want to be sure before we go far ahead and we figure out that our audio is not working. Okay, and then you can as well do us a favor. Thank you, Blessing Amadi. Thank you so much. My audio is working. Okay, you can as well help us share this broadcast to all of your young people, all the people in your compound, even your landlord. Share it to him. Let him join this broadcast. It's about to be the first of its kind. It's a very premium information. Trust me, information like this you have to pay for it. Trust me, you have to pay for it. So getting it for free, let's not treat it lightly, okay? Let's not treat it lightly. So share to your family and friends, share to your landlord, share to your neighbors in your compound, and let them join this broadcast right now. We are about to roll, and I'll be bringing in Barrister Ijoma in a bit. So today, we are going to be learning about how you can properly transfer ownership of your property by will. Hi, Mirabel. Thanks for being here. Now, welcome to Africa, where we come from, where we don't think we are going to die. When you bring up issues like a will and issues that has to do with insurance, things that has to do with that reminds you of the fact that you may likely die, we tend to run away from this kind of information. We tend to run away from this kind of knowledge because we don't want to die. We are scared of the knowledge, the idea that one day I'll leave planet Earth. But we have to just wake up one day and get used to this whole thing, because we are definitely going to die. Yeah, we are definitely going to leave this world someday. As sober as it may feel, we're definitely going to leave the world someday. And then, properties, buy a property, own real estate. But it's not enough to just tell you to buy property. It's not enough to just tell you to own a property. What would you do? There's prosperity. Real estate investment is a lifetime investment. A lifetime investment. So it's not enough to have it. It's much more important that you are able to protect your property and then secure it for your generations to come. Okay, I'll give you an instance, like I shared in my previous the previous post I made. Betty Machiku, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I see you, Blessing. I see you, Mirabel. I see you, Betty. Thank you for being here. So I shared in my post this morning, and I said that I lived in Ejibo. I grew up in Ejibo, and at that time we were living in the entire neighborhood is an old Lagos state. That's old Lagos state. And then people who live around those areas, Agege, for example, would attest to the fact that those areas are old Lagos, right? So most of the houses there, as at 2004, 2001, 2002, up to 2004, when I left there, the houses there were mostly old houses. They were owned by the children, and some were owned by the grandchildren of the families, right? That means the fathers and the mothers who owned the house, they had died, and then the children had taken over. And then in worst cases, we would see parents and children who would even want their parents to die quickly. Personally, I've encountered one guy who said he can't wait his mom or his father to die so that he can inherit the property. Yeah, it's not foreign. It happens. We've also seen cases where a man dies, he has his wife and children left. He leaves his children behind and the wife, and then time to share the property, and then you see the relatives start stripping the wife of her husband's property. She's left with absolutely nothing. And then you're wondering why, you're wondering how. So it's not enough to have property, it's not enough to have real estate. It's not enough to have wealth. What are you doing to preserve this wealth for your children, for generations to come? What are you doing? So here in Africa, we don't think about these things. We don't talk about these things, and it is gradually you find out that somebody just dies, and his entire lineage, his entire name, just goes into thin air. He's no longer being handled. That's because they don't leave something that they can be remembered for. They don't properly preserve the wealth. They don't properly preserve the wealth. We don't think about these things. We don't talk about it. So the earlier we begin to talk about it, the better for us, because these things are going to happen. These things have been happening over the years. So what are you doing? It's not enough to buy land. Personally, I've had experiences where people are dragging. We've seen families fighting for land, fighting for clothes, fighting for jewelry, fighting for gold that a deceased person left behind. So what if that deceased person intentionally made a will? This is very expensive. Make a will and say, okay, when I die, my child takes care of this, my wife takes this, my grandchild takes this, and that everything is properly allocated to avoid problems when you die. These some things are really not called for. Some things are really things that can be avoided if only we can take the necessary steps to preserve our lineage, preserve posterity, and all of that. So that's why we are doing this broadcast today, and we'll be having no other person than a barrister, a legal practitioner. There's no other person who can talk about this better than a legal practitioner. We are going to be having Barrister Raymond Ijoma. And Barrister Raymond Ijoma is the managing director of Fortreal Real Estate Company. Yeah, he's into real estate. He's a legal practitioner, and his niche is property law. Yeah, his niche is property law. Okay, and he's an author as well. He has authored over 5 books. So we have the best of hands. We have the best person for this broadcast on here with us today. So if you're here with me, do say hi in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from, and do want to share this video and let everybody in your compound catch us, because we are bringing in Barrister Raymond right now. So the next face you'll be seeing is Barrister Raymond's face, and don't forget that we are talking about how you can properly will or transfer ownership of your property by will. So let's welcome Barrister Raymond Ijoma. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going straight up. So the first question, I have a series of questions that we're going to be asking you. Okay, so if anybody has questions during the broadcast, you can drop it in the comment section, and we'll take a few. But for now, we have about 5 questions that we'll be taking on this broadcast. So the first question, sir, that I have here is, what exactly is a will? What exactly is a will?
All right. Thank you so much, Mercy. I really, really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to speak to these amazing persons listening to us or watching us from wherever right now or the replay. I appreciate the opportunity. This is actually a very, very, very important subject matter. Thankfully, you have already laid that foundation, and I will just leave it there and go straight to answer your question. So what exactly is a will? Law is quite technical, and we lawyers on this end, we sometimes, in fact most times, intentionally make it more technical so that clients, right? And the more you blow grammar, the more the clients will be like, wow, this thing hard to, hey, and then they'll pay more, right? But I'm going to make it as simple as possible, right, so that you get the message. So in summary, in as simple as possible, a will is simply an expression of intention. Now, you are a man, and not you now. Of course, we are all going to die someday. Anyway, let me use myself. Okay, so prior to my death, I reach out to my lawyer or anyone. I express my intention, and I say, in this particular manner, I want this property that is on the island. You call the address of the property depending on, and then you say, I give this particular property to James Ijoma, my first son. I give this particular one to this particular person, and that particular person, like that, until you exhaust what you have in your real estate, what you have in your possession as your estate. That simply is what a will is. That simply a document or an expression of your intention as it relates to how you want your property, your estate to be administered, how you want things to be done, how as it concerns your estate after you die. Now, yes, that is simply what a will is, but a number of other factors a number of other things I need to say as it concerns a will, if you would permit. It's not part of the questions that you are going to ask me, or you asked me already, but it helps to ensure that this conversation is a complete one. All right. Okay. So, having said what a will is, it's important that you understand that there are certain things you must know about a will, especially when you are making it. Now, a will doesn't take effect until you die.
Oh, wow.
A will doesn't take effect until you die. If you don't die, your will is powerless. The power of a will only becomes effective after you kick the bucket. All right. And then when you make a will, you are referred to as being tested. You are a testator. All right. When you do not make a will before dying, you are referred to as being intestate, or you died intestate. All right. Now, the will is a very, very wide one. Now, if you don't make a will, administrators would administer your estate. But when you make a will, you are expected to appoint executors, who are generally referred to as personal representatives. People who would, now, in summary, when inside that will that you have made, you would mention some persons who will ensure that those things you said in your will are carried out to the letter. Those persons are referred to as personal representatives. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, those persons are referred to as personal representatives. They are supposed to carry out everything you have said in the will. Now, it's important that you look out for the characteristics of those persons. Your lawyer will ensure that that is done the right way. But let's just pick out the basis so that we don't spend so much time here. Now, I'm going to focus on when you make a will. Which is around the subject matter of what we have. Now, when you are making a will, I will ask a question in this regard and I'll answer it. When should a person make a will? When? Is it a week to when you are about to die, or when you are already in your 90s? Now, the truth about it is, we're in Africa, and most of the times we tend to spiritualize a lot of things. Talking about death, some person just feel already, you are going to die. When you start preparing your will at 40, they feel like, the man is ready to die. It's a cultist, or it's, those kind of stuff, right? Yeah. But basically, you can prepare your will anytime. You don't have to be 90 before you prepare your will. You can prepare it at any time. Now, we're in Africa again, and you need to understand the kind of family that you come from. It's important that you understand the kind of family you come from. You know your uncle. You know that this uncle, when I die, this uncle will go to the point of even doing a lot of demonic stuff to my children. When you understand your family, you know that there are certain things you need to do. You need to bring in the instrument of the law to take care of certain things after you die. All right. So you can make your will at any point. It's not only when you are 90 or 100. All right. Now, for a will to be valid, you must have made it voluntarily. You must have made that will voluntarily. There should not have been any form of coercion from anybody, whether emotionally or because that would go to affect the validity of the will. When you are making it, secondly, you must be of sound disposing mind. You must not, there mustn't be any trace of insanity in your brain at the time of making that will. If not, it will go to the validity of the will. They can challenge that will in court and they would succeed. Whoever challenges it will succeed, saying that, you were not sane when you were writing that will, or you were highly under the influence of your wife when you were writing that will. And because of that influence, the woman has influence and everything now goes to the woman or her children. Families can come to challenge the will in that regard. So you have to ensure that you make it as straight, ensure that everything you look out for the characteristics that will ensure that your will is valid. If not, at the end of the day, your will itself will not even be, it will become a subject matter of dispute, and all your intentions will go to nullity if you don't do it the right way. So you must ensure you must ensure that you make the will the right way and look out for all forms of validity when making the will. Now, what are the importance of a will? We already had that slight conversation, but basically, the importance of writing a will is that you have a right, you can determine what happens after you die.
Okay.
A will extends your power. Even after you die, what you said can be obeyed. Right, so a will ensures that even after you die and you are no longer available, your words can still come to life. Your words still have power. That is one of the things that a will does for you. And again, we're in Africa, and there are so many traditions that don't make sense. One of which is in some areas, some concept. I'm not going to mention the areas, but there are some areas in Nigeria that up to date, when the husband dies, the wife and the children cannot inherit anything. There are some that if the wife doesn't have children, that is a big problem. There are some that women, daughters, cannot inherit any dime from their father. So when you understand this kind of issues, then you have to now be intentional about using law as an instrument of ensuring that your children, your wife who has suffered with you, who has worked and done everything for you while you are alive, to ensure that she doesn't suffer the moment you kick the bucket. Your children, your children, who you have loved so much, you have to ensure that the tool of doing that, or ensuring that those issues are sorted out, is a will. So that summarizes the importance of a will. All right, and then you also now have the right to choose who determines how your estate will be shared. If you don't make a will, anybody can wake up. Now, one of the things that happens when you don't make a will is that, actually, when you get married under the status, is that your children, your wife, and will now apply to become administrators of your estate. But when you make a will, those who have been written in the will, those whose names were written in the will be the ones to ensure that your instructions will be carried out to the letter. So the number of other factors number of other benefits of a will, but that summarizes it. And lastly, before I allow you to take over, is when making a will, allow these principles to guide you. Please make a good will. In my opinion, there is a will that is good and there is one that is bad. The last will I carried out, or I didn't do the will directly, but I did consultancy around it, and then I also filed it, approved it. Now, what I saw in that will was really sad, and that kind of will will certainly leave an issue for the children. Now, in that will, because the daughter did not finish the law school, because the daughter did not finish law school, the woman did not give her a dime from her estate. Now, naturally, you expect that kind of person to raise issues. So what I mean by goodwill is be human when making your will. Consider factors. Not like you have 3 sons, and you know that one of them is his head is with respect is not behaving properly. And that kind of person, you go ahead to disinherit him. You don't give him a dime from the estate, and you give the rest to the good son. What do you expect when you die? Do you think there's going to be there's will be peace after you die? That is trouble. That's a recipe for trouble in the family after you die. So, in my opinion, make a good will and be humane when doing so. I'll leave it at that point and allow you to continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barrister Raymond. This has been explicit already. I like the fact that you are bringing it down to Nigeria, bringing it down to Africa, where we come from, because there are lots of property issues. There are lots of dragging when it comes to properties. You see people even go diabolic when it comes to they even kill you so that they can inherit the properties, and it's crazy down here. So this consciousness alone of where we are coming from is enough to get somebody up to protect the future of your loved ones. It's very, very important. I like that you said basically all, and thank you so much for that explicit explanation on what a will is and the importance of having a will.